Well, hello, viewers. I can see from the views that we're getting that you're quite enjoying these videos. Whether it's about whether you want to know what gossip's all about, or whether you want to know, the background of GKR, or whether you want to just hear about my story. But I'm liking it. I'm liking the views, man. So, don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like, or dislike, or whatever. And if you've got similar stories to share, then feel free. Before I start, it's amazing how many people, the sort of watch this and from GKR past. I've decided to say hi. So I've got to big it up to Stevie Shaw, who was one of my consultants. He was actually a good consultant, but I think for him couldn't see the bigger picture, and but he was still a good consultant and could have made a pretty good manager as well. But he tried warning me about the cult and the stuff like that he saw. So he was quite, I would say, awake to what GK were doing. But I just saw success. I just saw the money rolling in. And then I've got to give a shout out to Mr. Taylor, who said hello to me this morning, Australia time, this evening, last night. I can't remember which. So yeah. It's apparently my story is quite balanced, but it's I'm only giving you the truth. I'm not giving you anything that I'm making up. I'm not making, not one part of this is false. Not one part of this is made up. So as we go into Japan, 2008, I believe, was the time that we went there. Now, what GKR had done is they had in previous times set up like a relationship with a guy called Master Fujiwara, and Master Tasaki, who's now no longer with us, and also a guy called Leo Lipinski, who is also no longer with us. And they were part of a company, an affiliation called Seiwakai. So what they've done is they've got these relations happening, and the Seiwakai guys would invite GKR to train in Japan. Now, every karateka's dream is to go and train in Japan. And for anyone that hasn't done it, you've got to go there and see the culture. So they had one trip, and I think we're doing the trip every couple of years. So they had one trip, and it was like, yes, it looks really fun. They did like a montage video of what they were getting up to. It was all fun and antics, and it just looked really, really, a nice thing to do. Where they were goofing off and in the dojo and wearing the Japanese hats, and they were going out for meals and stuff like that. And that was like, yeah, I want to go there. I want to do that. I want to have a bit of fun with the guys in good old Omigari, or Tokyo or whatever. So that trip was open to Club 1000 managers, and obviously zone directors, Stacey and Sullivan. So we got to 1,000, and the time came where we were invited to go to Japan. It was a bit bittersweet, if I'm going to be honest with you, and the reason is because I had worked my rocks off. Okay, you have to excuse the man boobs. I'd worked my rocks off to get to 1,000 attendance and to become number one in the country. Probably joint number one, or number two with Daniel Taylor. Just to find out that there was other people that weren't even, that it was now open to people that were going to 1,000. That were close to 1,000. So that was a little bit bittersweet. It was like, well, hang on a minute. It's meant to be open to Club 1000, and guys that aren't in it shouldn't be allowed to go. But it was all basically what GKR does. It's all a numbers game. It's all about getting the numbers there. So there's probably 30 managers from across the GKR, from Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, as well as all the zone directors at the time, and obviously Stacey and Gavin and Sullivan as well. What was shocking is that, you know, the flight to Japan was about £1,200. Well, okay, you know, they're not going to subsidise that. They're not going to subsidise a flight to Japan, and so that's all well and good. You know, I'll pay that. But when we got to Japan, we had to fly via Charles de Gaulle Airport in France, and then the flight was then from France to Japan. So we get on the bullet train to go from I think it was Tokyo Center to Omigari. Omigari is if you blink you'll miss it. It's like the end of the world. It was the last stop on the bullet train. I was on the bullet train for a good couple of hours. It was a 36-hour travelling, at least, something like that. The flight was 11 hours. Another 2 hours to get to Manchester Airport. Another couple of hours in the airport. A couple of hours on the plane to France. A couple of hours waiting in France for the connecting flight to Tokyo. 11 hours on the plane there. Then there's you got to get a train to this place to get to this other place, to the bullet train. Then you got to get on the bullet train for 3-4 hours and go to Omigari. So the zone director started coming around, and I'm like, all right, what is it they want? Well, we had to pay for our own accommodation. So I'm thinking, well, if we've been invited here, why are we paying for? Why is this guy Fujiwara not putting us up? You know, we've got to stay in Fujiwara's hotel. Why is this guy not putting us up? Why is he not saying, you know what, you know, we've invited you here, you're going to come train with us, you know, we'll put you up. So we had to pay for the hotel. On top of paying for a hotel that when we went back to Tokyo, because we were only 3 days in Omigari. He could have stayed on, but I decided that, it's too much, I want to see Tokyo as well. So it was 3 days in Omigari, 3 days in Tokyo, so I had to pay for the hotel in Tokyo as well as the hotel in Omigari. And we even had to pay for training. So the training was charged to us as well. And I think that was because Fujiwara maybe cancelled all his classes for us, and but that's not. So where was I? Yes, so we had to pay for these training sessions, and Mindy she's like, who's he talking to? I'm talking to the telephone. So yeah, we had to pay for these training sessions, and I just thought, you know, it's a bit wrong to charge. I just thought, you know, is it just more money grabbing? And it basically was, you know, we had to fund the classes. Now, I just thought it was a bit strange that I'd never had to pay for a GKR class, but yeah, I'm here in Japan having to pay for their classes and their hotels. It was interesting because in the hotel, it was communal showers and communal bathing. Yes, it was. It was very traditional in the way that you take your shoes off on the way in and you put slippers on, and we slept on the floor. Again, traditional Japanese hotel. The tables were ankle height. We had breakfast, lunch and dinner in the hotel. All sushi, which can't stand sushi, man. Sushi sucks. You might find that my voice might have raised a little bit now. It's because Mindy's now out of bed after a nap. So yeah, sushi sucks. So me and Jason Wright were swapping. He was having my vegetables and I was having his wedges. And then they also do. You're gonna love this, Daniel. They also do rice. They also give you a boiled rice with a. I don't know how to time it properly, but what happens is with egg fried rice in Japan. I don't know if this is the way it works everywhere, but they give you a half. They give you kind of a half boiled egg, as in you crack the egg open and the rice continues to cook it. So it cooks the rice, cooks the egg, and the egg is a. You can get the idea, right? Oh my god. So yeah, that was basically until I think it was day 2 or day 3. You know, we walked to training and we did training in Fujiwara's dojos, and basically we just spent, it was 2 hours training. We had an hour break, then another 2 hours training, then an hour's break, and then another 2 hours training. So we were training for a considerable amount of time. In that time, we did 6, 12, 18 sessions. Or it might have been 2 hours, have an hour off, and then 2 hours. It might have been 4 hours a day. I can't remember, but it was either 4 or 6 training hours per day for 3 days. So yeah, and then we'd go to in Omigari restaurants. Didn't really see anything. Went into like a school building with like lockers and stuff like that, and you go upstairs and you get your ticket and you don't know what the hell you're eating because it's all in Japanese. They don't really cater for the English there. And yeah, you sit down, you have your noodles or whatever you've ordered, and you don't know what you're getting really. Pay your yen and etc. etc. And then one day, Andy Ward, came up to me and said, James, I've found McDonald's. I'm like, no. 40 minutes we had to walk. Why didn't you get a taxi? Because there was too many of us. Flagging a taxi down in Omigari is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Public transport would look like it was null and void. Taxis, the roads weren't busy because it literally was like an up-to-date village, if you like. So yeah, I picked out a McDonald's, and that was my food. We found a bar called the Dragon Throb, which apparently was GKR's bar that they kind of commandeered when they were over there. That was their hangout spot where there was because a lot of them play instruments and you can go up on the stage and play your own instruments and stuff, and basically have your own little party, if you like. Yeah, that was pretty much Omigari, man. It was wasn't a lot to do. Wasn't a lot to do. There wasn't a lot of time to do anything. In fact, we spent most of our time in a dojo, but then also sat around on the floor in a hotel room because Bob Sullivan wanted to tell us stories of some kind of, I don't know. I mean, we're all top managers. What do we need to discuss? What meetings do we need to do while we're over there? Stupid, just meeting after meeting after meeting. A guy called Alex Pereda fell asleep in the meeting, which was a bit ignorant, and his zone director, Nabil Fanous, was just laughing. He thought it was funny. Now, if I had done that, my zone director would have ripped me a new backside. He'd have ripped me a new arsehole. I wouldn't dare to do that, although I did want to, because if you can imagine, you've just done all this training. You've had a couple of hours break to eat and maybe get a shower and stuff, and then you got to sit there, because Bob Sullivan's decided, I want to talk to the guys, and he wants to listen to a tape that you can't understand a word things are saying, so you're trying to take notes down to look interested, and really all you want to do is go and get a bath and just chill the frick out and get a couple of beers down. That's all you want to do. That's it. But no. We had to go and listen to him drone on and on and on about crap and more crap. And everyone thought it was amazing. Because the last thing you wanted to do with GKR is being negative. So you always had to have this positive attitude. Stacey Correction used to walk into meetings, and I can remember in the UK, and he'd walk in and say, "How are we all?" And everyone would go, "Oh, we're awesome, Shihan." I just never spoke. I just never spoke. He wouldn't have liked what was going to come out of my mouth. Because I wasn't awesome. That was just like the staple thing that people said. How are you? I'm awesome. Awesome was actually the most used word in the GKR vocabulary. Awesome is such a shitty word. Sorry, but it's crap. It's not awesome at all. I'll tell you another story after this one. I'll probably go into something else. I'll probably just do some little stories now. So yeah, that was Japan, and Got to day 3. The bullet train was on its way to pick us up. Yes, we're going to Tokyo. We're out of the hotel and away from the zone directors. Yes, we are free. We don't have to be on our best behaviour anymore. That's what we thought. Now there's a guy called Carl Hughes, who crappy manager. He's now a zone director, but has never done anything major in GKR. He touched 1,000 attendance once. Well, I touched a hot stove once. Doesn't mean to say I'm going to do it again. So yeah, he apparently the morning we were going back, he was drinking sake with Anthony Ryan and I think it was Alex Pereira or somebody like that, from 3-4 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning when the train was due. And his big thing, because he's about 20 foot tall. No, he's probably 6'2", 6'3", maybe that. He's probably, if he's watching, he's probably might correct me and say he's 6'3.5", and tell me that I'm lying. But this is all, it's got to be gospel because I've got nothing to lose really. And so yeah, his big thing about being in Japan is that he'd go up to just certain guys that he could trust, and he would say, "Do you know what I like about this place?" And we'd be like, "No, Carl, what do you like about this place?" And he'd be at the top of his voice. You can shout, F this, C this, B this, shit, and just reeled off a load of swear words. And then at the end of it would say, because nobody can understand you. At the time it was funny. Now I look back and I just think, what a moron. We got to Tokyo, we checked into our hotel, and then we decided to go around and see the sights. Now in Tokyo doesn't liven up really for young guys until 6 p.m. We walked into pubs. It was like, I need a beer. So we'd go to these pubs that they didn't serve beer until 6. So it's like, oh crap, you can have a coffee. No, I want a beer. I don't want coffee. I want beer. So we were walking around Tokyo for a while, and we went to this park. We ended up going to a supermarket and getting some cans of acai beer, acai biru. I'm just being literally English tourists with our white plastic bags that you get from Morrison's and a couple of cans of acai in there, walking around Tokyo Centre. We found this park where it's like they have like like these days you see kids and they're out in the middle of the street or out in public and they're just doing TikToks. A little bit like that, but it wasn't TikToking. It was there was like skaters. There was bands playing. It was just a lively park that you wanted to walk around. So we're walking around there with our cans of beer and doing whatever. Carl Hughes decides that he wants to. There was a monument there. Don't worry, I'm going to go into what happened when we got back as well. There was a monument there, and it was like a 45-degree slope, and he decided, "Ooh, I wonder if you can slide down that." So yeah, he decided to get to the top of it and slide down it. I think somewhere, I'd have to really, really sift through things. I've actually got all the video footage of everything that we did, because I had my phone didn't work because it wasn't on roaming. I didn't realise I needed to get roaming, but I recorded pretty much everything we did on video camera, and also loads of pictures, which I've got no idea where they are now. People asked me people said to me, "James, can we have that CD that you did?" I'm like, nah, because I can't trust where it's going to go because of some of the crap that was on it. Oh, my doggy. So yeah, that was the. So yeah, he was doing that. Tokyo was interesting. My advice for anyone that goes to Tokyo is avoid the Nigerians or the black guys, the big black guys that are nowhere in the day, but 6 o'clock comes, boom, they're there, because they will take you not away. They won't kidnap you. They'll take a couple of thousand yen off you, and then take you to a seedy place, like really seedy place. Like there's one place that we went to, and it was a karaoke bar, and we got told we could drink as much lager as we wanted, which is fair enough. We'll go sing karaoke. We'll do, I can't remember how many thousand yen it was per person, but big 12-foot Nigerian comes up to you, you're gonna say yeah, aren't you? So we went to this karaoke bar only to find out that it was actually a strip club. It was a stripping club, yes, it was. But the alcohol was free, and yes, we did do some karaoke. Seedy karaoke, and the half-naked women that come up to you, sit with you, and want you to buy them drinks because the lager was free, but the red wine wasn't. So if you bought, I want to call them hookers. So if you bought a hooker a red wine, the money went to the house. It didn't go anywhere else. They also have private time as well. Don't know if I should or not. They also have private time, which one of our party did partake in. He vanished for, I don't know, maybe half an hour or so. Came back out and decided that it was time to go, only to find out that it was an £800 bill, of which he paid off his own credit card, but then blamed it on someone else. He blamed it on a guy called Damien Birch. He said, "Oh yeah, well, Damien did this, and I had to lend him the money, and I've still not got it back yet." This is what he told his wife. Damien did this, and I mean, Cal knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, he vanished, and he told his wife that he'd lent this Damien £800, which he hadn't done, because Damien was with us all the time. And there was only Cal that, I've done it again, that went off for private time. And yeah, the £800, I'm willing to bet now he's still not got back off Damien. Because, well, Mindy's like, what? Well, he won't have got it back off Damien because it was all bollocks, wasn't it? Of course it was. But I bet he still tells his wife that. So yeah, that was a night to not repeat. But then one night, Daniel Taylor, the GKR Saint, did say, "Let's go do karaoke." So I'm like, right, okay. So I'm like, what we've had before, is it? So he says no. And what they have is they have these hotels. And if you can imagine something probably the double size of a normal size bathroom, probably half size of my living room or half size of your living room, and it's got a sofa in it, a TV with karaoke on it, and there's maybe 5 or 6 of you in there, and you book out a room, and you can literally go there. They bring drinks up to you, pay for the drinks. There's no seediness about it, and you literally sit in this room and just sing karaoke and just have your own like mini party. So you had to pay a couple of £1,000 for that, which we were more than willing to do because it was clean fun. It was clean. It wasn't the forced fun that GKR made you do, which again, I'll go into that in another video for you. Are you excited? Woohoo, what's going on now? So yeah, the karaoke and Cal. We returned back to the UK. To then find out that some little snitch Jones, had gone to Bob and grassed on us all. So there we are on a Thursday morning. Nick's downstairs with Bob, just spilling his guts because he was a fanny. Telling Bob about all our antics, and Bob called me in, and I was in tears. The guy scared me. I was scared for my job at that time because I thought I'm successful and I'm going to get fired today. He wanted to know if Carl Hughes was sliding down monuments and Carl Hughes was doing this, Carl Hughes was doing that, and I denied everything. I backed what I thought were my friends. I did what I believe was the right thing. Now, with hindsight, which is now or couple of years ago, I should have threw him under the bus, man. I should have thrown the fucker under the bus, because that's where he deserves to belong. Anyway, so we got a raking for that. There was training sessions in Japan where Bob used to come up to us. Bob would come up to us on the last day. Went for a proper night out on the last night in Omigari. And Bob came up to us the next day and he said, "You guys stink of alcohol." We were sweating alcohol. So yeah, we didn't get raked over the course for that. but everything else we pretty much did. Lo and behold, I never went back to Japan. Would I go back if I could afford it? No. I didn't like it. Didn't like it. Um, it's. I mean, it is a nice place, but it's a totally different culture altogether. But I wouldn't go back. Even if somebody paid for me, I wouldn't go back. It was an experience that I've done, and I don't need to repeat. The travelling was the hardest bit, I think. Um, just staying in the same clothes, and again, there was no advice there. I thought, I'll go travelling for 36 hours in jeans and a t-shirt. Jeans are a bad idea in Japan, because it's just so muggy and sweaty and sticky. Um, and I didn't have anything else to wear. So I think I had the same box shorts on for 36, 40 hours. Yeah, I know, it's quite grim. I didn't know to pack an extra bag. So, yeah. First thing we did when we got to the hotel was, let's get a shower, let's get in the bath, man. Bathing with another bloke is interesting. It's not as interesting as bathing with another two blokes, that's even more interesting. It's a case of where do you look? Up is where you look. No, so yeah, communal baths, communal showers, that was fun. Not in that kind of way, so don't get any ideas, you freaks. So yeah, that was basically all I wanted to say about Japan, really. We did some videos, and because Daniel Taylor's only a little guy, we did what we call big small, where Cal was 12 foot and Daniel Taylor was only 3'2". We'd find things that were huge. So we would find normal size things, like there was one time in the park where we found an ice cream cone. We bought an ice cream and we gave it to Cal, and it was a normal ice cream. And then off camera, he would hand it down to Daniel. And then Daniel would be grabbing this giant ice cream, because there was a giant ice cream cone, and Daniel would be grabbing that. So we like big, small things. And then there was a Snoopy shop. Just a massive shop dedicated to Snoopy. Charlie Brown. Is it Charlie Brown? Snoopy. Nothing else, just Snoopy. I'm like, what the frick? So we did some big small in there. We did some big small all over the place. And we also filmed a like a crappy film in one of the temples. Went to one of the temples, and I don't know if you might see it on my Facebook or not. I might put it as a thumbnail on it, I don't know, but one of the temples where there's 5 guys with just tiny, tiny little dots in this temple. The temple was huge. And we did like a little dummy video in the grounds of the temple. I'd love to see where that DVD is now. Jason Smith, if you've still got a copy, let me know. But I'd love to watch it again. It'd be funny. But everything's caught on camera, apart from the strip club. So that could be fake, that could be real. Who knows? But everything else is caught on camera. Yeah, that's it. That's Japan. Any questions? Any comments? No? Put it this way. What the video that they showed us at a conference about the trip to Japan, it was nothing like that whatsoever. Nothing like it whatsoever. It was almost a case of, right, we've done a great video now. We've reeled people in. We don't have to do that anymore. Well, no, I wanted that. I didn't want what I got. What I got was, it's like when you order a meal, and it's like ordering a steak and getting a cheeseburger. Totally different altogether. So yeah, they kind of reeled us in with that, but it cost. I think within the week I probably spent maybe just over $3,000. Just living the week. Toilets are what the toilets are. They push your button, it squirts your backside for you, plays music for you. Didn't see any Yakuza, so can't really comment on that. But in the big films, there's you see the Japanese walk, you see the Japanese zebra crossings where there's 3 of them. Yeah, walked across there. Shibuya Station, which is basically in the middle of Tokyo, has got a dog. A statue of a dog outside. And if you've ever seen the film Hachi with Richard Gere, it's kind of similar thing. The dog was there to symbolise loyalty. Because what happened is this guy, a Japanese guy, would walk to the station, take his dog with him every single day to work, and he'd get on the train, and the dog would then go home, and then at a certain time, the dog would then go to the train station and meet the guy off the train, and they'd walk home together, and they'd do that for years on end, until one day the guy died, but the dog still kept going. He'd sit there, all right, my owner's not there, so he'd sit there and wait for his owner. So it's a very sort of moving story. If you're not, well, I mean, look it up, look into it. The film Hachi is actually a really, really good, sad film. So yeah, it symbolised loyalty, which what the Japanese are all about, loyal. Within karate training, the loyalty is meant to be there for your peers, I suppose. But yeah, so that's it. That's Japan. If you've not been, go. If you have been and you want to go back, fine, but it's not for me, sorry. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, worn it, thrown it away, drank it silly. So yes, and avoid the black guys at 6 o'clock on a night, because they will take you into and that was the thing about that strip club, was that we thought, we're all karate instructors, we're all black belts, we could have maybe fought our way out of it and not paid, because they wouldn't let us go until like £800 was paid. I forget how many yen it was, but they wouldn't let us go until it was paid. So dickhead Carl got us into some grief, some shit really. So we're like, well, maybe we can fight our way out. Well, the thing with that thought is, when you walk out the door, there's another 6 or 7 of them outside the door. So no, you're paying the bill, man. So yeah, he got us in some crap. He was probably the most immature and the worst one there, if I'm going to be totally frank. He was the one that just thought it was on his jollies. But yet, while we were in Tokyo, no zone director or anything, we were like literally, it was meant to be like a break. We were still being held accountable. Whatever happened in Tokyo didn't stay in Tokyo. Whatever happened in Omigari didn't stay in Omigari. In Omigari, we were best behaviour. No messing, no nothing. I didn't smoke for 3 days. And then we got to Tokyo, smoked like a chimney. So yeah, but we still got held accountable for everything we may have done wrong from the start of the trip to the end of the trip. Okay? The only thing, I just thought, we're still being held accountable for this crap. We're still being raked over the coals, but we're meant to be on our holidays. It's a working holiday. Well, no, not when I'm not with you. When I'm representing GKR, fair enough. But not when I'm walking around Tokyo City Centre. Oh, you're always being watched. Bollocks, Bob. We're not always being watched. But then again, Nick Jones was the snitch of the group, I think. So, you got to be careful who you trust. Because I trusted these guys and they just sold me down the river. I'll go into more detail on that in another video. So, I don't know what my next video is going to be. We got back from Japan. I'll probably tell you about some of the run-ins that I had with Bob. Yeah. I'm going to leave that with you. And I will see you on the next video. Any questions, any comments, please feel free to ask. Yeah. Right then, I love you and leave you. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, don't care, just do them all. I'll see you soon.